Happy first day of June, everyone. I am so sorry for kind of being MIA. As most of you know, I was away on vacation, and I'm really happy to be back. But I gotta tell you, ladies, there was so much action going on from the time I was away, and oh my goodness, before I could have done a video, I had to respond back to all my TTC sisters. There was some of you ladies who were going through your IUI and you know, you unfortunately didn't get a positive result, and then there was some ladies in the middle of their IUI or they had their IUI performed on that day, or while I was away. So it was crazy. So I was like, oh my goodness, there's so much to catch up on with my TTC sisters, and I wanted to do that before I actually gave you girls an update as to what has been going on my end. So, I guess first, maybe I'll start at the beginning, but basically, I was away in Chicago and then Milwaukee the day after that I found out that my IUI first round was unsuccessful. So it was really, really nice to get away. And like I said, I knew I wasn't pregnant, but I thought there was some sort of miracle or some sort of thing that could have happened magically, but it didn't. So I'm fine. Obviously, I was upset, but on to the next round. So I was actually scheduled to get my period, I believe, so the Thursday I was supposed to get my period, but I didn't actually get my period. I ended up getting my period on the Saturday while I was just about to go up the Sears, aka the Willis Tower? Yes, it's now called the Willis Tower. But yeah, I was just about to go up the Sears Tower. Sorry, I'm going to call it the Sears Tower because to me, it's still the Sears Tower. So I'm sorry if I've offended anyone who lives in Chicago. But so I was just about to go on the Sears Tower when I was just like, okay, I have this feeling that Aunt Flo was making her way. And she did. Went to the washroom and it was like, bam, all there. And ladies, it was one of those periods, or the first day period, where you just feel like crap. And there was like, it was so hot in Chicago, and it was just like, all right, put on the pad, because I actually don't wear tampons anymore because they're not very good for you. And with me having endometriosis and stuff, I've kind of stayed away from tampons and stuff like that. So I had on like this thick pad, but you know what? It didn't stop me. It didn't stop me from enjoying my trip, but my period did come a few days later than what it was than what was expected. And I figured that my cycle would be wonky this month because it was the first time that I was on any medication. So it was the first time I was on Clomid. And I just knew that, you know, my body would be like, whoa, what are you doing to me? And it would affect my cycle. So I got my cycle on the Saturday. And then I actually had to call the fertility clinic on Jason's cell phone. So I had to call Toronto, or my fertility clinic in Toronto, and let them know that, you know, it was my first day of my period and I'm ready for round 2. So I did that, and they called me back the next day. So by that point, we had traveled from Chicago to Milwaukee, and FYI, oh my goodness, to my American girls, Chicago, I don't know if you ladies ever been to Chicago, but it's an absolutely beautiful city. Toronto is a beautiful city, but Chicago, I have to admit, takes the beauty cake when it comes to gorgeous cities. And Milwaukee, oh my goodness, the people in Milwaukee are so lovely and they're so friendly, and the food there is amazing. So by the time, on Sunday, we traveled from Chicago to Milwaukee, and I got a call back from the fertility clinic saying, "Thanks so much, Kiara. We got your message." I was actually able to talk to one of the nurses, and she just said that, okay, thanks for letting us know that you got your period, and that we're going to get you. So for this round, my doctor has ordered that they double up the dosage of Clomid. So last cycle I was on 50 milligrams of Clomid. This they doubled up to 100 milligrams of Clomid. And they wanted me to come on day 3 of my cycle, but unfortunately I would still be in the US. So I had to actually come in on day 5 of my cycle for my first kind of cycle, or my first day of cycle monitoring. So, so I came back from the States, and then that evening, and then early that morning, the next day, I was back in the fertility clinic for round 2. So they did the blood test, they did the transvaginal ultrasound, and they did discover that I do have 2 cysts on my left ovaries. And for some reason, I know the risk of Clomid and it producing a lot more estrogen, but the fact that I knew it was a risk for creating more cysts, but for some reason my endo, it's like it goes all to my ovaries. Like my ovaries get it really, really bad with my endo, or the form of endo that I have. So they did discover that there was 2 cysts at 2 centimeters on my left ovary. Now, one of them was from my previous cycle that did not collapse. So at this point, they were unsure if it was going to be an endocyst, or if it was going to be a cyst that would eventually collapse and leave. So I just have to be really cautious about that, and it's unfortunately it's a risk that I take with taking Clomid. And anytime I hear like the fact, like I don't want to hear that I have more cysts on my ovaries. Like I had those 2 big ones that they had to remove, and I don't really want to go for another laparoscopic surgery. That was on day 5, and then they said, okay, tonight start your Clomid on day 5, and then take it from day 5 to 9, and then on day 11, let's get you in to see how you responded to the drug. So took the Clomid, doubled the dose, and again, I didn't really feel anything this round, pain-wise, like I did the first round, but I have to admit I was a bit tired with this round with the Clomid. And what else? I don't think I was emotional during like the days that I had to actually take Clomid, but I know after I've taken it, that's when the emotions start to take control of my body. Mad woman. But if anything, this round, I've been a lot more emotional than like irritated, like, oh my God, why are you doing this? Or, just irritable and bitchy. And so I came in on day 11, and I had a follicle growing on my right that was at 1 point, I think 6 or 7. And then I had 3 follicles, a good size, growing on my left. And the doctor was like, you know what, Kiara, you're responding very well to the Clomid. You've got a lot of follicles here, but you may be overstimulated by the Clomid. So basically, if I'm overstimulated, then they have to cancel this month and of IUI and kind of give me a rest to kind of calm down the ovaries and stuff. So yeah, so I mean, it's a good thing that I was responding well to the drug, but again, I have to be careful because I have endometriosis and I'm more susceptible to having cysts grow and for some reason, that endometrium loves to just stick around my ovary region, or like the region where my ovaries are, and just kind of party out and grow. So that was a bit concerning. And so basically what she said is they would take a look at my blood test that I did that morning, and based on the estrogen levels, if they were high, then they would have to cancel this round. So I was asked to come in the next morning on day 12, and the blood test came back fine. My estrogen levels were fine, and they did another ultrasound on me, and those follicles were growing. And they were like, you know what? The doctor was like, let me just kind of, since you do have so many follicles growing on your ovaries, if we do this round of IUI, then you run the risk of having multiple births. So, so basically, she was just like, but let me just check with the doctor and, see what we think we should do in your case. And I was basically, and I told them, I said, yes, I understand the risk of multiple births, but you guys have to understand that. And because they were like, oh, given your age of 31, there's a risk that you could get multiple births. And I said, I understand that I'm 31, but really my ovaries are over the age of 35. Like they've taken a beating from the endometrius, with me having stage 4 endometriosis. So even though I'm 31, my ovaries don't show that I'm 31, and last cycle I had 2 good follicles, so maybe it will work this time now that I've got like 5. At this point I had 5 good follicles. So they took that into consideration, and then so they were like, okay, well, we'll get in touch with you that afternoon to let you know if we think you should proceed with the IUI or not, and also based on the blood test to see if I was if the estrogen levels were too high, right? So they called me back in the afternoon, and I was sure that they were going to cancel this round